this show, you'll find inspiration, motivation, and advice from experts, as well as valuable tips on how to get started or improve your business. Let's dive into how you can begin and grow your wisdom business. Inspiring others looks different for everyone. How will you inspire? Welcome to the Wise Dome podcast, and today we're chatting with Lizzie Macaulay, who is a copywriter, creating words that sells, and runs her own membership called the Check-In Membership. Welcome to our podcast, Lizzie.
Hey, Nikki, thanks so much for having me along. I love a good chat.
Well, before we started recording this, we were having a good old chat about, systems and processes and all that sort of stuff that we always have to put in multiple hats. But let's get into who you are and what you do first. Share with our audience. Introduce yourself.
Okay, well, as you very helpfully introduced, I'm Lizzie. I am a copywriter and copy coach for small business owners and entrepreneurs. So the thing that I focus on more than anything else is really helping people find and use their authentic voice, because sometimes it's easier said than done, and we come up with stuff that we think is the right thing to say, but we kind of hate it, or it's kind of boring, or it kind of doesn't compel people to do things the way that we want them to. It doesn't make them want to pay us, which kind of that's why we're in action. Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of why we're here, right? We're all in business, to help people to make some money doing it as well. We're not all completely altruistic. There's got to be a little bit of give and take. So essentially that's kind of what I do, and get people just really falling in love with not only with their own businesses, because you can fall out of love with it sometimes, but also with the process of creating, instead of it being like a challenge or an unpleasant experience that you have to do it. Yeah. I like to equip people with the tools and the skills to be able to just really enjoy the experience of creating.
Yeah. I love that. And, one of the things, and I like how you pointed that out there, some people just do fall out of love in their business. And I think, when you have that flow of being able to articulate what message you want to share or an idea that you have, and we get ideas all along through the journey of our businesses. It's like you want to be able to speak it.
Totally.
It's so hard sometimes, especially with there's so many different ways, like so many mediums that we can use to share our message. And I think copywriting, I know for me, is just, doesn't work for Nikki. I need help very much so. But face-to-face, problem. But I have to ask you this, and, hey, if anyone, I just love your website.
Oh, thank you.
I see your two gorgeous girls on there. It's absolutely beautiful. Can you please share with me that little tidbit, the little message that you, or story, let's say, that you were sharing with your daughters, or you're raising them to understand? Because
okay. So my theory in business and in life, it kind of started. I used to work as a travel agent 7 million years ago. Oh, wow. And it started to dawn on me, and this prevailing theory that I've held with ever since is that there's the triad of possibility. Things you can have one or two, but very rarely all three of these things can be cheap, fast, or good. Mm-hmm. You can have something that's fast and good, but it's not going to be cheap. You can have something cheap and fast, but it's not going to be good, and so on and so on. And so so I have different offers at different levels. All of them are going to be good, essentially, is the way that I say it, but it's either going to be fast or cheap. So you can't have both. No. But I just that's just a sort of flippant, funny thing to do. But my girls are nearly 5 and nearly 7, and they've really taken it on. So they really assess things like, if we're going out for a meal or something, oh, Mum, this isn't fast. So which is it? Is it good? Is it cheap? No. And they really think about it when they're moving their way through the world, is like, which part of the triad are these?
I love that. And you know what, that touches on a little bit on, sometimes the why we do things, and as a parent, I know not all of our listeners are likely parents or whatever, but I have to just mention the fact that, I've got a daughter who's turning 13 tomorrow. So I've been really reflecting a lot on, what she has seen and, you know, what her mum has done. So I think, you know, those little messages that we teach our kids, I think are really, really important. The little life skills as well, I think are amazing. So let's get more back into you and you're amazing. Yes, you're an amazing copywriter, and you do take into consideration the voice of people and their message and their tone and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's a major thing that we do have to consider. Obviously, when we're working with people, some people match, some people don't, whatever. How do you sort of go through that process of selecting your clients, or, you know, letting your clients select you?
Well, I think that's a really great question, and it's a kind of complex and both straightforward answer simultaneously. Is that I absolutely let my clients choose me because of this authenticity piece. And I know it's kind of a buzzword at the moment, but for me, what I produce is exactly me. And if you don't like it, it's not for you, not my problem, essentially. And that's kind of what I encourage in everybody that I work with. I have a really particular kind of up there, out there kind of tone of voice that it's just supposed to be, let's have a bit of fun. We're not all in business to like hate doing it. So let's enjoy the experience. Let's just fully immerse ourselves in our message and what it is that we have to say. And so as far as I'm concerned, you know, if you like my stuff, you're my kind of person, that works for me. If you don't like it, you're not my kind of client. That's fine too. Go, Godspeed, go have a great time, find somebody who suits you better. And it just doesn't, it's water off a duck's back. If it doesn't work for somebody, that's just fine. It means that we aren't suited. And that's as far as the thought goes. I don't take it personally because, you know, I don't like everybody. Not everybody likes me. We're all different individuals with different taste experiences. So who cares, you know? And you spend that time, you spend the energy devoting your attention and focus and support to people who gravitate towards you naturally, I think.
Yeah. And that's a good word there, gravitate. I like that. And how do you carry that over? And there's a reason I asked that question. How do you carry that over within your membership? So when you have your members coming in, you know, when you're sharing your knowledge, because you're sharing your knowledge, and there's a different, you know, we all share our knowledge in different ways. How do you do it with your members, and what's the aim, what's the goal with the membership and what your members get out of it?
I think really it's to give them the confidence that no matter what they say, it's going to be okay. Yeah. You know, people, my members and well beyond my membership, people I've worked with nearly 300 entrepreneurs over the last couple of years, and there's so many of them that are afraid to say what they want to say. They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of, you know, the consequences of actually saying what they want to say. And for me, I spend a lot of time encouraging them to, like, who cares, you know, like I would call it a process of elimination.
I love that.
Well, we're just like teasing out the little sort of business rebel within that's always been there. And that's always been like, we have such good instincts and we ignore them roundly so often as well. You know, like we know what we want to say. There is quite often a block between what's happening in your brain and what comes out of your fingers if you're typing, you know, like, and we get people telling themselves, I can't write, I'm not good at this, I don't have anything interesting to say, and I'm all bullshit on that. I disagree wholeheartedly. We've all got a beautiful story to tell and something really important to say, and it's just a matter of believing in that for yourself. So that's where I spend a lot of my time. Obviously, there's strategy and skill involved too, but I think the fundamental starting point is believing in your own voice and believing in your own story. And I
like that. Because it just demonstrates right there, your membership is not just here's some knowledge, go take, see you later. You've got a massive support situation there that's not the word. See, I've got to use the right words. I'm
not the word police, by the way. Don't.
I'm my worst police. But it's, you know, you've got an awesome sort of value on supporting your members, and I think that is what sort of makes a membership thrive.
For sure.
Awesome. Where did check-in come from? Check-in membership, like why that no?
Well, for anyone who's already in there, they'll already know I'm always just checking in, just checking in, because it's a weekly thing. So my members, every week they can send me a piece of their work for me to sort of look over, polish it, make comments. I'll send back like, here's why, these are the comments, or these are the changes that we've made. Here's the strategy, here's the rationale. So I'm always checking in on them. I want to see how they're doing. Awesome. I want to see how they're progressing. And the idea of it is that there's weekly momentum built into their business structure. Because, you know, like all of us, we get a bit not good, a bit crap at going forwards, you know, like we're doing the do every day, servicing our clients, doing things for other people, and we kind of forget to grow the business because we're so caught up with other stuff. So this is a way, by tiny increments, of getting people slightly further along week by week.
And they don't realise it a lot of the time, do they? Because it's just like they're progressing without realising you're actually reaching that goal that you
No, you're so right. And what's really great at this point, you know, like I've been running it for a bit over a year now, and my founding members, they almost don't need the skill portion of it anymore. They come to me now for backup rather than how do we do this?
Yeah.
And that's really great. Well, like it's great and kind of terrifying, because they're like, Lizzie, I've got your voice in my head. Do I know what I'm writing? Like, what would Lizzie say? And then I'm kind of like judging them. I'm not even judging you. But what has been great is it gives them this critical eye over their own work. And then they have the skill for life. Because you know what? You could hire me as a copywriter, but then what have you learned out of the experience? Probably not as much. And then as a member, you can call on that skill. You can call on that confidence whenever you want to create whatever. And then you send it to me and go, well, what do you think? And I'll say, yep, no, good, go.
And I think that's freaking awesome. And I like how you said those words, call on, because I think with memberships, that's a huge part of it, isn't it? Like, there's different styles of memberships. You could have just a library of content and people just, it's that, evergreen, it's their self-paced, whatever it is, they just access it whenever they need to. And I think that, that engagement that you have, that interaction that you have with your memberships, and I think because of what it is as well, the type of membership you have, that is an integral part of it, because they're learning as well as, just capturing information for themselves whenever they need to. And they've got that little extra supportive boost of, confirmation, like you said, to just sort of go, yep, okay, I can call on her. I know what to do, or check in.
Check in.
I know you're present and you're present in it. And I think that's one of the big things when it comes to a membership. We can have a membership there, but I think sometimes it's not just a set and forget, because that's just a library. It's not a membership.
Well, that's it. So I like to say, Nikki, is more about come for the skills, stay for the community.
Yes.
We're a bunch of really like-minded people. It seems it's women mostly, but I'm open to anybody. It's just I don't think boys really like my big, bright, crazy colours, though. I don't know. But boys are welcome too. And it's just been such a supportive space, and it's evolved a lot. A year's both a long and short time in business, isn't it? So, it's become a place for people to come for way more than just the skill. I'm starting to get different members collaborating with each other, external to membership, and it's just so much more than what I could have even dreamed of when I started.
It's so fruitful to hear that. It is so nice to hear that people, there's a growth from it, like the stems growing from this. And
it starts with copy, but it's definitely, it's more than that now. And we've got, something that I added was like member masterclasses. For a couple of reasons, and one of those is, I love to support everybody who comes into my space, but it helps us understand what we all do, what skills do we offer, and how can we all collaborate with each other and help support each other, help promote each other, because that's certainly a piece of it. But it also gives people, especially people who aren't necessarily natural presenters, like a really safe, welcoming space for them to practice their presenting skills, so that they can start to get further out of their comfort zone in a way that they know is going to be a soft landing place. So that's been a really cool piece too. I like it.
Oh, I love that. And you touched on this earlier, but I think it was before we were recording, and you mentioned how, I guess there's those moments, like you've come from like I said, you come from travel.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Copywriting. And then you've got into like this whole membership side. So there's that, there's that service side, and then there's that leadership side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, my goodness, if we were talking about my journey professionally, I don't know whether it's a good or bad thing, but I before I came to professional writing, I've been a professional writer since 2015.
Yeah.
So a decent chunk of time in that direction. But before that, I had well over 30 different jobs. Which is,
discovery. It was all about discovery.
Well, I will call it a process of elimination. Because, there's so much that we can do, like we're so capable, but I never found the thing that I was like, this is the thing. This is what I have to do forever and ever, until I found my place in professional writing.
Wow.
And I haven't really looked back ever since. But the transition is more than just finding the thing and starting a business. There's so much, isn't there, to being a business owner, that you got to wear all the hats. You got to juggle all the things. You got to juggle, perhaps depending on your situation, the parenting or the household or the social life or all the other stuff. Just being a human adult existing in the world.
As we call it, just being an adult.
Exactly, adulting. It's a delight. But I think the thing that was the biggest, most exciting phase for me has been this last kind of 6 to 12 months of really transitioning out of an employee mindset or a doer of things, a service provider, and into a business leader, where now I'm not just sort of doing things and treating my clients as my employer. Yeah. But now, I'm making decisions that drive my business forward, that are strategic, that are lifelong, that are going to grow the business, rather than just, here's your piece of work back, thanks very much for your time, And it's an interesting process, but it's so much more fulfilling than where I was before. There was a little bit of passivity, I guess, about it, and just kind of seeing where it went. And now I'm like, no, I know where I'm going. And
now you're driving it. Yeah.
Exactly. Just lots of fun.
So at what point made you get into that driver's seat and say, that's it, we're going into this direction?
That's for the first few years of this business, so It has been around since 2019, and a good proportion of that was spending time in someone else's business, providing copy and coaching for their business and their clients. And it was definitely very comfortable, and the environment meant that I didn't have to go and look for clients. I wasn't really that responsible for how my business was going, because it was someone else's business kind of taking up a lot of my time and attention. And it just got to a point where I realized that I wanted to put the same amount of energy into my own space. And, that was a scary thing to do, because then now I'm responsible for absolutely everything. But that's also great, because then you get to choose everything. You get to choose what systems you use. You get to choose what strategies you employ. You get to choose what platforms you turn up on and what you say and how you do it, and you don't answer to anybody. And so, my system, my whole world, my business that I'd been building for several years, I basically started from about not quite scratch, but not far off, and I had to rebuild. And so I think that's really what drove this new feeling of power and leadership.
Control. It's like you're controlling all of this. You take ownership and control, obviously.
Exactly.
Like you said,
Exactly.
That's an interesting, it's an interesting sort of evolution, I guess, from, when you work for someone else, you're doing what you currently do in your own business, but you're working for someone else. Look, I did that when I was doing my interiors. I was working for someone else, product developing, and then I just went into my own business, and it was like I have this control, but there's also this huge weight of you've got to build this up and all the rest of it. And there's that moment you've got to build that trust as well. So I think you touched on that a little bit there, where you said you sort of were already out there to a degree because you didn't, so people knew of you, but you had to build it in a way now that this was just you. Like when you're coming to you, it's you, it's your own. You've got to recreate that image, I guess. How did you go about doing that?
I I don't have a really satisfying answer for that. I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, and I just kept trying stuff. And, you know, I'd started the membership before this. There was kind of like a transition piece of I'd started my space. Yeah. I already had external clients as well, but I didn't have like a full roster, let's say, on top of this almost full-time client. And so it was literally just, let's try this, let's do that. And piece by piece, it's all come. Like if you asked me in January this year, if this was a good decision, I would have said, no, this, what did I do? But the longer it's gone on and the more confident I am that it was the right decision, and the more beautiful people come into my space are exactly the right people, and they don't kind of care if I say dumb stuff or if I, you know, they're just they get me, and they understand that I will say some really stupid stuff from time to time because I just like blah, 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 blah. I tend to rattle.
You don't say dumb stuff.
They're just that's just
context. They're just reading it the same way.
But it all comes from a good place, you know. Like they know, the people who know me and who are in my space understand that no matter what it is that I'm saying, even if I'm saying something they don't like or they don't agree with, it's coming from a place of wanting to help and wanting to help them grow and progress. And it's not ever coming from, even when it's, you know, how about we try it this way instead? It's not saying, you idiot, how come you did it that way? It's just saying, that's cool. We know what we know. How about we try something else?
That's one option. Let's try another option and see what the balance is between them, or what. Yeah.
And so the teaching piece for me is definitely the end point of quite a long transition from like employee to doer of things to like leader of the business. Also is like random doer of tasks to copywriter to copy coach, you know. So it's just sharing what I do. It's funny, Nikki, I've got there's this prevailing idea that's been whirling around in my head for the last week or so around who we surround ourselves with, and how can I say it? It's kind of like how we almost we have a tendency to limit ourselves depending on the expectations of the people of the people around us. So the thing that's kind of been on my mind lately, like I have this amazing gym that I go to. It's all very hands-on, and you're always with a coach, and there's lots of different styles of leader in that space. And some of the coaches will hand you the lightweight, and then you'll work to that level because the lightweight has been handed to you, and you go, oh yeah, I can do that, that's cool, yeah, that's my limit. And there's other coaches who hand you the heavyweight, and they go, and you look at it and you go, oh my God, I can't do that. Why would you give me that? And then you go ahead and you do the thing because, you know, they just had the brass neck or had the confidence or had the belief in you that you could do more than you gave yourself credit. And so I've really been applying that to my world as well, because I do that. Like I think quite often we stop ourselves from trying something really, really big and fun and huge because, oh no, that's too big. I can't handle that. Like, of course you bloody can. Of course you can, but you don't know if you don't try it, right? So there's a part of my wiring that's missing that tells me don't do that. Don't try it, you know, because, well, okay, if it doesn't work out, well, that sucks. And maybe it's embarrassing, but you know what would be worse is just not trying stuff, not experimenting and not pushing further than like your current mindset tells you that you are. That's your stopping point. Why not? Let's see what happens. Push the buttons and see what goes.
Oh, that's interesting you say that, because it's, you know, like we all go in these little phases of, you know, this is what's attracting us at this time. And at the moment, I'm just going, diving into neuroplasticity. And it's, for me, it's just like this, you know, I'm a great believer in the universe and what you put out there and so forth. But I'm also a great believer in, you know, just believing in yourself, dude. Like, you know, you can do this. And sometimes we sit there and go, Jesus Christ, how the hell did I get here? Like, you just, it's a whirlwind. And just like you said, like little steps, like with copywriting, that people are going, you know, reaching steps and not even realizing it. There's something with neuroplasticity that sort of interested me recently, because I'm going through this phase of like the leadership thing as well. Like you're saying, you're becoming this sort of expert in your field and people are asking you questions and you're like, why are they asking me this question? And then you're like, oh, because I actually do know. Like, it's like, oh, who knows? But, and I'm not an expert by any means in neuroscience, because I don't get it.
Though.
I'm actually surprised I remember the word neuroplasticity in the first place. But the point I'm getting to, and I will get there, you know, when you're telling yourself, you know, I've got to do this, and we get into our comfort zone, and it's because you know we've just always done it that way. Like I said, you know, when we're at school and we've learnt docs on Word and, you know, I mean on Microsoft and all that sort of stuff. It's like, oh, let's just try something different. Get off that pathway, the path that we normally walk. It's very hard to do, but if you can just take that step. And there's this, and I have mentioned it, I think, in another podcast. I'm probably repeating myself constantly. But, and this is something that it's all about plasticity, you know, if you keep molding it in a way, it'll end up bending to you, and your brain can bend to that new pathway that you're creating, that new belief system that you're creating, and so forth. And for me, there's a Dr. Tara, and I've forgotten her last name, so I do apologise to Dr. Tara. She puts it out there like this, and I'm a very visual person. She goes, imagine a field, a grass field, and you're going for a walk down this path. And the first time you go down this path, the grass sort of flattens a little bit. And then you go down that path again, and it flattens a little bit more, and then again, and it gets a little bit muddier, and then again, and again, and again. And then as you keep going along, it just gets a little bit harder, and it sets, that path sets. Yeah. And the more you tell yourself, you know, when you take it away from that and into your own sort of thoughts, the more you tell yourself that you can do this, you can go that extra further or whatever. And it's like your trainer's saying, here, carry this weight. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll give it a try. And then the more you try that weight, and your body just copes, it gets through it, it gets to it, and all that sort of stuff. It's like one of those things, you just have to believe in yourself that you can evolve and you can keep going.
As well as that, you need to demand it of yourself, though, as well. It's not it's not going to happen if you don't drive that as well. But I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. It's actually, you
have to lay down the path as well to make it stronger. So you've got to do something. Yeah.
An active process. Yeah. I spend a bit of time, my eldest daughter, I spend a bit of time with her on like, we don't call it neuroplasticity, although she'd probably like, yep, I know what that is. I'm good. Yeah. I spend a lot of time building that kind of stuff into her. She's hardwired, intelligent, amazing, friendly, funny kid. Yeah. Hardwired for negativity somehow, like more so than you'd expect for a 6.5-year-old. So I spent a lot of time with her on like affirmations and, you know, really rewiring, like, how can we turn that around? You know, like what's the positive of that? You know, if, you know, dad's at work, what else could that mean rather than dad's not spending time with me or whatever? Because of course dad's got to be at work because everybody has work, you know. And so I spend a lot of time talking to her about that in the hopes that, okay, fair enough, 6 years old, we're still figuring so much out. But my hope, my ambition is that by the time she gets to our age is that it's reflex rather than still a struggle. Yeah. So that's, you know, it's long-term payoff, hopefully, but that's where my brain goes, is like because I could see her fixing those pathways that are going to lead her to just negativity and just have a crap time. And I don't want that for her. So I tell you, I'm in a similar space of attention, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, I appreciate you saying that, because it is something, you know, as parents, you know, but even with friends, whatever it is, you know, when you're supporting other people, that is a main thing, isn't it? You've got to sort of help them see a next level beyond. Sometimes people, you know, environments, situations, experience, whatever, could get them in that position of just state.
Yeah.
And it's I think us as humans, that's why communities thrive.
Exactly.
Because we're all there to really support ourselves to get, each other out of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What lessons have you learned particularly for yourself through this whole process of creating your membership?
That's a really interesting question.
Very broad, isn't it?
Do you know what I think it is, especially now that I'm this side of it as well? We've talked about, the going from less confident to more confident. Yeah. And what is the most important thing that I've learned for myself and that I teach out as well is that there's so many ways to do the thing. You don't have to do it the way you've been told is the only way, because there's not one way. You don't want to use Microsoft, don't use Microsoft. You don't want to turn up until 10 at night. Okay, find a tribe that wants to do work at 10 at night. There's so many different ways. I know there's some wild, random examples, but my point is that just because somebody tells you it's so doesn't make it so. You've got to innately know and find the things that work for you, regardless of whether that's your messaging or your systems or your operating hours or, what your phone tells you to do. Like, that's something I've done recently. I've turned all my notifications off my phone, completely off, except for reminding myself to drink some water because I'm terrible at it. And the reason is that just because my phone tells me to look at my phone should not be a reason enough for me to stop what I'm doing and stop my client work and break my focus or whatever it happens to be. There's so many different stimulus for doing things a certain way that don't align with how we actually want to do it or what's going to make our day run more efficiently or what even just feels good. So I guess the lesson is, for me, is find what feels good and do that, and then people that also feel good doing that find their way to you and they gravitate to you because you're in a similar space. Yeah. And it's not about fighting and scrapping and doing dodgy stuff to find clients or whatever. It's just about creating the space for the right people to come to you. Yeah. So, that's probably the big lesson for me this year in particular.
Do you?
Yeah, 100%. Always. Even if people don't like it, just means they're not your ideal client. It's fine. Yeah.
Or they're just not there on the day. They're just not
also
not feeling it for the day. Yeah. I know our kids don't feel us sometimes. And then there's other days.
Like it some days.
And you birth the child. They're like, it's just nah.
I love you, but I don't like you. No, That's right.
Oh, yeah. That a couple of times.
Oh my goodness. But that's just part of it, is that we're all different and we all need different stuff. And so to try and shove ourselves into a particular mold that doesn't fit, not worth it.
No. We're all made uniquely for a reason.
Exactly.
Because you're visually unique doesn't mean you have your brain's unique too.
Yeah.
Use it. What legacy are you looking to leave?
Also a good, geez, you did it hard, man, don't you? You go real deep.
Oh, your face.
Oh, crap. Do you know, I want to leave the space that I occupy better than I found it, ultimately. I want, I'm seeing a lot of progress, not only for the people that I teach, but the people that they teach or the people that they service. And things are starting to have that ripple effect. And that's really what it comes down to, is that I am here to support and lead and try some stuff and fail at some stuff and not worry about that, because ultimately the more that I do things for me and for my people, the better that is for a whole bunch of other people I haven't even met yet, or I might never meet. Yeah. And so, I think that's probably a legacy that I would be really pleased to leave behind come the time, hopefully not today. It's just to be able to say, do you know what? I did something good and I helped people.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Perfect. Absolute perfection. Hey, is there an offer that you want to share with our audience?
Well, I'd love to. Obviously, I'd love to have everybody come join me in the membership so they can work on their stuff. We kick it out of the nest and watch it fly. I do have a coupon code available for anybody who would like to come join me, which would be 20% off the price of the membership for the first 6 months. So I'd love to share that with all these fabulous humans who are a part of your fabulous universe too. So obviously all of the details will be in the show notes.
Yes. Thank you, Lizzie. Oh, you're absolutely awesome. You've been amazing to chat to today. And just I love, when we chat to our guests and you discover the little journeys they've been on and what activated them to actually change from one direction into another direction, or, just made them go, oh, this is like an aha moment or realization. And I just think your story is amazing. What you do is absolutely awesome, and you've got a brilliant presence. I just, absolutely gorgeous, and I love the red lipstick you've got on today. We don't see it visually, but they'll
have to trust you.
But all of the details of Lizzie's offer will be in our summary below, in our podcast summary. So be sure to click on the link, and don't forget to subscribe and leave feedback as well for our podcast. It does help. And again, thank you, Lizzie, for your time. You've been awesome to chat to you today.
Oh, likewise. Let's do it again. Can we start over?
Yes. We'll do it again. We'll check in again next time, won't we?
Yes. We'll do a check-in, and it'll be great.
See you guys. Thanking our sponsors today and every episode that we do go live with, Wisdom and the Wisdom on Wisdom events. Be sure to check out details in our summary below. Wisdom is our learning and content management platform for anyone who's sharing their content online through memberships, courses, challenges, creating a community and engaging with their members. All details, like I said, are below in our summary. Thanks for listening to the Wise Dome podcast. If you enjoyed and have been inspired by this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, do subscribe and please share it with others. Post about us on social media or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, Nikki Kelly, you can follow me on Instagram at Wise Dome Podcast, WISEDOME podcast. I'm Nikki Kelly. Thanks again, and we'll catch up next time.